Good afternoon, all. Welcome back, dear participants, for a very informative session on life cycle of OBE and overview by Dr. Teresimina Mahesh, Associate Professor in Electronics and Communication Engineering Department. She is a member of Amaljodi family from April 2002 and possesses a wide array of experience as engineering and education professional in the Middle East and India. She was an eminent resource person for various NAC and NBA accreditation orientation program, also the trainer of artificial intelligence and machine learning under ASAP. She has a number of publications in journals and conferences, out of which 5 are on NBA accreditation, and has won best paper awards at various technical fest. Ma'am, I welcome you to take over the session.
Thank you, Ranjit, for the kind introduction. So today our topic of discussion will be life cycle of outcome-based education. And these are the topics that I'm going to discuss on. First, we'll have a brief introduction about ABET and NBA. Then we'll go through the outcome-based education model. We'll have a brief discussions on vision and mission, program educational objectives, program outcomes and program specific outcomes, course outcomes, assessment and evaluation, continuous improvements, and the role of stakeholders. So in any educational institution, the prime factors are the students and the faculty. In this diagram, you can see several pillars: student admissions, advising, policies and procedures, curriculum, faculty, facilities, technology, institution support. All these pillars, they support the learning outcomes. So this diagram clearly indicates the importance of learning outcomes and the interaction between the faculty and the students. So if we see our profession, engineering, engineering is the profession where you have a spirit of innovation as the basis, and several real-world applications improve our day-to-day life. And few professions have such a direct and positive impact on people's lives in everyday lives. So we are counting on engineers and their imaginations to help us meet the needs of the 21st century. So there's a need for going for accreditation. Nowadays, it's a trend and it's also a necessity. So the generally accepted principles of accreditation are: the accreditation body will be a non-governmental organization. And if you speak of ABET, which is the origin of all these accreditation processes, we have a fair and impartial peer review process, and accreditation will be voluntary, and it's a single program and requires self-assessment. We change it to slideshow. Okay, let us have a few words about ABET. So ABET is a non-profit, non-governmental organization that accredits colleges and university programs. It was founded in 1932. And accreditation demonstrates the demands that the colleges meet the threshold standards to produce graduates who are ready to enter the profession. So actually, if a college is accredited, it means that they have met the minimum required standards for the student who comes out of the program to be called a professional. So institutes are committed to improving the students' educational experience through accreditation. And accreditation is also a continuous process, and comprehensive reviews are required at specified intervals. And failure to comply with a single standard results in loss of accreditation. And most importantly, deficiency in one area cannot be compensated by strengths in other areas. So accredited programs or institutions comply with the standards, but they are not ranked. So ABET's commitment to global technical education involves a memorandum of understanding with 18 international accreditors, and there's a mutual recognition agreement, that is the Washington Accord for the engineering, where there are 20 signatories and 8 provisional members. Of course, there are other accords also, but we come under the Washington Accord. So we'll see the origin of the Washington Accord. It was started in 1989 with 6 members. There's Canada, USA, Ireland, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Then in the 1990s, 2 more members were added. In 2000 and 2010, more members were added, and we became a member in 2010. And now there are more members under the provisional status. So this accreditation is a global system, making the world a better place by increasing the quality of STEM education, globalization of the economy, and increasing the global influence of our member societies. So are we preparing our students to succeed in a global economy as part of the globalization process? And under ABET, the National Academy of Engineering has stated 14 grand challenges, which include advanced personalized learning, make solar energy economical, enhance virtual reality, reverse engineering the brain, engineer better medicines, advance health informatics, restore and improve urban infrastructure, secure cyberspace, provide access to clean water, provide energy from fusion, prevent nuclear terror, manage the nitrogen cycle, develop carbon sequestration methods, engineer the tools of scientific discovery. And IEEE also encourages the UN Sustainable Development Goals, like no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, etc. So IEEE is the signatory of ABET, and competent professionals, educational criteria, professional development are the ultimate aim of IEEE. So IEEE supports advancing technology for humanity. And coming to the NBA self-assessment report contents, we have the vision, mission, and program educational objectives, program curriculum, teaching learning process, course outcomes, and program outcomes, students' performance. These are topics that we will be dealing with in this session. Okay, so coming to the 21st century program structure, we start with the mission and mission statements. So vision is a futuristic statement, and the institution department would like that the institution or department would like to achieve over a long period of time. As an example, if we write, create high quality engineering professionals for industry. The dot is put over there because the type of industry should be specified. So it depends on the geographical location of the institute or the type of training that they provide for the students in a global scenario. So mission statements are essentially the means to achieve the vision. For example, offer a well-balanced program of instruction, practical experience and opportunities for overall personality development to create professionals for the industry. Like, you can specify the industry. It can be a mechanical industry. It can be a software industry. Another example, to deliver quality academic programs based on state-of-the-art R&D to produce high-quality R&D professionals. So this mission statement should be accomplishing the vision statement that is stated. So let us see a complete example. The vision will be create industry-ready graduate engineers for the present need of software industry. And the mission will be offer a well-balanced curriculum, instruction and practical experience to produce skilled graduates with leadership and managerial quality for modern software industry. So after having stated the vision and mission, let us move on to program educational objectives. So program educational objectives are statements which mention the skill that we give to our students to see what they become in the next few years after completing the course. So PEOs are broad statements that describe the career professional achievements that the program is preparing for the graduates to achieve within the first few years after graduation. So let us see how we should frame a PEO. So first point is PEO should be consistent with the vision and mission of the institution, and PEO should be achievable by the program, which is very important, and PEO should be based on the needs of the industry. And how to write the program educational objectives? Before writing the program educational objectives, you have to get the consultation and the feedback should be collected from professional bodies, industry, alumni, management, and data on trends in development in the profession. So based on all these, all the data collected, we have to write the program educational objectives. So the conditions to consider, let us take a practical example of a college which is located in this scenario. Most of the students are employed in software development industries or working in the area of application software development, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and computer networking. So this is what the students of the college, after they complete the course, most of them are employed in software development, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and computer networking. So when you write the program educational outcome for such a college, we can write it as produce industry-ready graduate engineers in the area of application software development, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and computer networking. And all the graduates will become successful software professionals with leadership and managerial quality in the modern software industry based on their strong skill on theoretical and practical foundation. And all the graduates will exhibit professional ethics and moral value with capability of working as an individual and as a team to contribute towards the need of the industry and society. So while writing this, we should have in mind that all these things should be aligned with the vision and mission statements, and also this should be achievable by the program outcomes defined by the NBA. So let us see how the mapping between the mission, stated mission, and the program educational outcome that we have just stated goes like. So the mission statement was given as offer a well-balanced curriculum, instruction, and practical experience to produce skilled graduates with leadership and managerial quality for modern software industry. So we can break up the mission statement into its key components as well-balanced curriculum, instruction, and practical experience to produce skilled graduates. And second point can be taken as leadership and managerial quality. And the third point can be taken as modern software industry. Now we can see how this vision statement matches with the PEO that we have stated. So the first point deals with software development, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and computer networking. So this can be matched with PEO 1 and 2. Software, here also graduates will become successful software professionals with leadership and managerial quality in modern software industry based on their strong skill on theoretical and practical foundation. So this first point, key point, well-balanced curriculum, instruction and practical experience to produce skilled graduates, matches with PEO 1 and 2. Second point, leadership and managerial quality is in line with PEO 2. And modern software industry, it matches with PEO 1 and PEO 3. Okay, so the program educational objectives that we have stated should match with the mission statement. And here we have a graph showing a tabulation showing how the PEO matches with the program outcomes that are stated by NBA. So we have not seen program outcomes. If you remember, you can see how the program outcomes matches with the cognitive domain. 1 to 5 will be the program outcomes related to the cognitive domain, and 6, 10 and 12, they are domain independent. So you can see how the program educational outcomes are matched with the program outcomes. And for modifying the program educational outcomes, you have to get the inputs from the stakeholders or the constituents. The stakeholders will be mainly alumni in the case of PEO, industries, parents, faculty members, management. So all these input can be taken from all these constituents, and a review can be done. Review of the results can be done by the faculty. A program educational outcome can be recommended, and it is again reviewed by all the constituents. If there are no further changes, you can publish the program educational objectives. But if the constituents or the stakeholders recommend further changes, you have to review the process again, make further changes, and this process has to continue till no further changes are recommended by the stakeholders. So next important topic in this outcome-based education will be the program outcome and the program specific outcomes. So program outcomes are basically derived from the graduate attributes defined by NBA. But now for the institutes who go for accreditation, NBA has given 12 program outcomes, which are defined by NBA. So there's no need to frame the program outcomes. And for our particular department, we can frame our own program outcomes as program specific outcomes. So the program specific outcomes, they are different from the program outcomes in the sense that if our college has excelled or has got a good lab in VLSI, then our program specific outcomes should reflect VLSI as the main point. That is, the students, skill of the students will be more in the area of VLSI. Another department or another college, same department in another college might be specializing in artificial intelligence. So their program specific outcomes will definitely reflect artificial intelligence as their area of specialization. So program outcomes will be the same for all the colleges, but program specific outcomes will depend on their area of expertise. So area of expertise can depend on the faculty members who are experts in this area, and also the lab facilities that they have in their colleges. So now you can see that the program specific outcomes will train the students in the skill that is specific to a particular department or to a particular college. And the program educational outcomes in turn will reflect these skills. Okay. So after program specific outcomes and the program outcomes, you have got the course outcomes. So course outcomes are the real things where the interaction between the faculty and the student occurs. So course outcomes should be framed with the utmost care, because course outcomes reflect the skill that is transferred to the student. And students should know what skills they are going to acquire by reading the course outcomes. So course outcomes are stated for theory courses, laboratory courses, projects, seminars, viva, etc. And this in turn will be reflected in the teaching learning process. Modern tools should be incorporated in the teaching learning process, and all these course outcomes should be mapped to the program outcomes. Program outcomes, as you know, program outcome 1 to 5, they indicate the program specific domain, and this is program specific domain, and this is domain independent PO. So these are the basic program outcomes that are stated by NBA. These are the minimum qualities that a student that is accredited by college should acquire upon completing the course. So if you see, look at the first program outcome. You have the action word apply. Apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and an engineering specialization to the solution of complex engineering problems. So the first program outcome states that the students are supposed to solve complex engineering problems by the application of all these knowledges. So if we look at the cognitive level using Bloom's taxonomy specifies 6 cognitive levels. So the first level will be remembering, and the second level will be understanding, third level will be the application. So for an engineering student, the cognitive level should start from application level. Then problem analysis, you have identify, formulate, review, then as the action verbs, then design, development of solutions, design solutions for complex engineering problems, then conduct investigations of complex problems, use research-based knowledge and research method, including design of experiment analysis and interpretation of data synthesis. So this will be more of lab-based post topics. And modern tool usage, create, select and apply appropriate techniques, resources and modern engineering and IT tools, including prediction and modeling to complex engineering activities with an understanding of the limitations. And from 6 to 12, we have the domain independent program outcomes. And these domain independent program outcomes are also supposed to be attained from the courses, from the theory courses, lab courses, project, viva, seminars, etc. So engineering and society, action word is apply, environment and sustainability, understand, demonstrate, ethics, also application, and individual and teamwork, function effectively, communicate effectively for communication, write effective reports, design documentation, effective presentation, you and receive clear instructions. Then project management and finance involves demonstrate as an action verb. Then lifelong learning, recognize the need for and have the preparation and ability to engage in independent and lifelong learning in the broadest context of technological change. So we have to concentrate on these words which are highlighted over here when we are mapping our courses to the program outcomes. So next one is the course outcome. From program specific outcome, we go to the course outcome. So this course outcome is directly related to the teaching learning process. Evaluation takes place here directly. And we have active feedback from the industry also. So our course outcome should be designed in such a way using tools where the industry can provide a feedback. So that active feedback means industry should be able to give suggestions as to what the skill should be that you should focus on. Similarly, shared resources will indicate the tools that you are passing on to the students. The tool should be up to date with the needs of the industry. Learning objective versus learning outcomes. So learning objectives describe what the instructor is supposed to do, and learning outcomes are statements that are observable and measurable in terms of what a student is able to do after completing the course. So learning objectives are mentor-centric, whereas learning outcomes are always student-centric. So characteristics of good learning outcomes will include action-oriented statements which are achievable. Okay, so achievable statements will be measured, and the statements should be specific. And the action words were used while formulating the course outcomes should be something which the students can do. It should not be statements like students should be able to understand, students should be able to study, which are abstract words and which are not measurable. So action verbs indicate what the student will be able to do actively, like identify, assess, list, solve, analyze, design, compare, etc. And a statement of something which is specific, measurable, and achievable, and what the student should be able to do is what we call as the course outcome. And the important features of a well-written course outcome will be the performance component, the condition component, and the criterion component. The performance component actually involves the words. Condition components specifies the conditions that are set, which includes the tools which are using to do the activity, and the criterion component gives a measure of the extent to which you can measure or how well the action is being performed. So performance component, the main point is the skill attained, and the two types are the overt performance and the covert performance. So as I mentioned, overt performance will be something which we can see or hear, like draft a letter, dance, etc. Whereas covert performance will be based on abstract things like appreciation of music, which in the long run we have to convert to overt. That is, we have to write statements regarding what is needed to become a good appreciator of music. Then condition component identifies the tools, procedure, materials, aids, facilities, etc. to be used. And the criterion components measures the quality of performance. So this can indicate either a numeric value or a quantitative value as to how much the students have attained the skill. Example of a course outcome: design a model to classify iris flowers using SVM classifier to get an accuracy greater than 98% using the iris data set. So the observable action here will be design a model to classify iris flowers. And the measurable criteria will be using SVM classifier to get an accuracy greater than 98%. And the conditions of performance will be using the iris data set. So these three conditions should be there in the case of a good course outcome. And since we are having a criteria component, we should be able to measure the course outcome And there are several methods for measuring the course outcomes, which can be devised, and several methods are also indicated in the NBA manual itself. So the course outcome is calculated using the marks obtained by the student in the semester end external examination, usually conducted by the university and by the internal evaluation. And nowadays the practice is to take 80% weightage from the external examination and 20% weightage from the internal examination. And the level of attainment is nowadays usually decided on a scale of 3. So scale of 3 for the attainment calculation consists of 3 classes: low, medium, and high. So this level can be set by the institution. The low level, here it is taken as below 60%. So 0 to 59, the value is normalized here and normalized and then converted to a scale of 3. Okay. And the 3 classes are shown as low, medium, and high. So what I've done here is normalize the value and set it to a scale of 3 by multiplying the normalized value by 3. Then the next step is to perform tests to conduct the assessment. So the test that we usually perform for measuring the course outcomes will be series test 1, series test 2, and series test 3. And for each of the tests, we'll be assigning marks for question 1, question 2, question 3. Suppose this is the pattern which we have used for the test. And CO101 is just the code for the course outcome in the first semester. And 0.3 suggests the third course outcome, 0.2 suggests the second course outcome, and 0.1 suggests the first course outcome. So if you say series test 1, question 1 is for 20 marks, and this is used for testing the attainment of the course outcome, first course outcome for this subject. Question 2 is for 20 marks. It is used for testing the attainment of the first course of the second course outcome of the first subject. And similarly, question 3 is set for 10 marks, and this is used for testing the attainment of course outcome 3. So series test also is shown for the specified number of marks. Now you can see in series test 1, course outcome 1 was tested for 20 marks. Series test 2, there's no course outcome 1 being tested. All the 3 questions are tested for course outcome 2. And in series test 3, all the questions are used for testing course outcome 3. Okay. So now we have to find the contribution of the marks to each course outcome. So if the total marks for course outcome 1 is equal to 20, then T is equal to total marks T is equal to 20. Similarly, for checking course outcome 2, the total marks is equal to 70. And for checking course outcome 3, the total marks is equal to 80. This is a mistake here. Total marks is equal to 80. So this is the result of all the summative assessment marks. So summative assessments will be the series test that are conducted at the end of the semester, in between the semester. And formative test, they indicate the class test that we are giving while we are taking the classes. So formative tests are usually used for getting feedback from the students so that the skills are transferred in the right manner. And the summative assessment test will be the test that we are using for calculating the course outcomes. So we can tabulate the marks for the course outcomes. Here I have tabulated the marks for 10 students. And here T is taken as 100 in each cases. Normalize the values then multiply it by 3 to convert it to a scale of 3. So here you will get the result for the 3 course outcomes. So the 3 course outcomes values are put over here in a scale of 3. You are taking the average of these 3 values over here. So this value gives the value for each of the students. The attainment for course outcome 1 for each of the student. And the average internal attainment of the class can be obtained by taking the average value of this column. So this column gives the attainment for the entire class. If you take it row wise, you get the attainment for each student. So in the given example, for course outcome 1, there are 3. So the subject 101, you have got 3 course outcomes, and in a scale of 3, these are the values that we have obtained as a result of this method of evaluation. So the total course outcome 1 value, average value is given as 2.04, taking the average of these 3 values. So this is another one method of calculation based on the levels on the classes. So this is another method of evaluating the same thing. Instead of going for the actual marks, you can just put the levels here and get the average internal attainment. So based on such calculations, you can see how many students are in the low level, medium level, and the high level. Then we have to consider with this we are finishing the internal marks evaluation. Now we have to consider the external marks evaluation also. So the marks obtained can be converted to a scale of 3 based on our assignment of the class values. And also the number of students who are in the low level, medium level based on external evaluation. External marks obtained can also be classified like this. And we can have a comparative chart for internal evaluation and the external evaluation based on the marks or the grade that they have scored. In the case of grade also, you can, based on the grade value, you can assign them to the different classes of low, medium, and high. So this will be the marks for the internal evaluation. We can here in this case, we can see that the internal evaluation marks are high compared to the external evaluation marks. In the low category also, the internal evaluation marks are high, which means that the skill transfer is not done very well in the case of this category. Medium, it's all right. It's nearly only a slight difference. In the case of high also, there's only a slight difference. So we have to concentrate on this category of students because they have not acquired the skill that is mentioned in the course outcome. So this chart can provide for a evaluation and assessment also regarding what remedial measures should be taken to improve their marks in the external examination. So this also will indicate the quality of the internal evaluation that was done. And the final attainment of CO 101 is done by taking 80% of the marks from the external evaluation that we have done and 20% of the internal, and this will give the final attainment of the subject CO 101. And in this case, if we are fixing the attainment level at 60%, then the value in the scale of 3 will be 1.8. So if a student has crossed 1.8, he is supposed to have attained the value. If it is less than attain 1.8, he has not attained the value and he comes in the low level. Similarly, we can take, as part of our assessment, we can take the attainment value for the last 3 years. And we can also suggest the minimum attainment level that we are getting over here. And this is a graph representing the graphical representation of CO attainment over the last 3 years for different subjects. Here the subjects taken as CO101, CO102 is the second subject in the first year, CO103 is the third subject in the first year, 104 is the fourth subject in the first year, 105 is the fifth subject in the first year. So we can see how the attainment varies over the different years, and this purple color indicates the minimum attainment level. So you can see that in the first year, for the first subject, over the last 3 years, the students are performing well. The skill has been transferred well to the students. All of them have reached the attainment level. Same thing happened in the case of subject 2 also. Subject 3 also it's okay. In the case of subject 4, for the current academic year, there is a drastic drop in the attainment level, where it has fallen drastically. So from this graph, we can see that there is some difficulty in the transfer of skill to the students through the course outcomes. And in the case of subject 5, none of the students have attained the course outcome. So there is a serious need for reviewing the course outcomes and the method of delivery. All those things should be done in a scenario like this. Attainment scores for single students can also be taken from the graph. So for a subject, each student's score can be indicated like this. And from a single graph, we can see how the student is performing for each course outcome for the given subjects. So this slide again indicates the importance of course outcome. So course outcome provides a major skill that has to be developed by the learner on completion of the course, whereas the syllabus provides the list of topics covered in the course. And this is a method for achieving the best possible method of transferring the skill to the students through the course outcomes by writing the course outcome in a way that the course outcomes directly indicate what skill is being transferred to the students. So 2 points that we have to consider while writing the course outcome will be each course outcome should clearly specify what skill is being transferred to the student, and each course outcome should start from the application level in Bloom's taxonomy. So if we look at the syllabus, perhaps the syllabus will contain basic things which requires remembering, understanding, etc. So all those things should come under the module outcomes. So module outcomes can be elaborately written and tested. And whenever there is the need for a skill to be acquired, that should be put as a course outcome. So module outcome can cover all the cognitive levels from knowledge comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Whereas the course outcome for the engineering students are supposed to start from the application level, because the program outcomes, they all the action verbs in the program outcomes are above the application level. You have application levels and above the application levels only. So to satisfy, if the course outcomes are to be mapped with the program outcomes, they should have action verbs that are above the, at least at the application levels. Only then you will be able to map your course outcomes to the program outcomes. So these are the Bloom's levels. This side indicates the noun form and this side indicates the verbal form. These are the original levels indicated in the noun form, starting from knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. As in the verbal form, you have remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. And these are the nouns that are indicating each level, from synthesis, analysis, application, comprehension, and knowledge. And when you frame the question paper also, you should indicate the Bloom's level and the course outcomes for each of your questions. And you should ensure that the Bloom's level should be at least at the level 3. So the course outcomes, they identify the minimum achievements required for success in the course. And the course outcomes, the sum of the course learning outcomes of constant courses should be mapped to the program learning outcomes. So the program learning, attainment of the program learning outcomes will be done by the attainment of the course outcomes. So typically 4 to 6 course outcomes are identified per course. So that will depend on the time that you require to deliver a skill to the students. So if it is a 40-hour course, and if there are 5 course outcomes, typically 8 hours should be specified, should be given for transferring that particular skill to the students. So course outcomes should aim to develop higher order skills in each domain of learning. Evaluation, synthesis, analysis are typical examples in the cognitive domain. So lower levels of lower cognitive levels should be done in the module outcomes, and attainment of each course outcome should lead to attainment of at least one or more of the program outcomes can be attained by each of the course outcomes. So then we can go on to write a program matrix which shows which courses meet which POs to what extent. And if the level is 3, it indicates fully met, 2 means partially met, 1 is poorly met, and 0, it's not met at all. You can also call it by the name slight, moderate, and substantial. There are different methods of representing these correlation levels. And relations between COs and POs, selection of courses, their ordering, identification of COs of each course in any given program, along with the effective teaching learning methodology, ensure attainment of the desired discipline expertise, attainment of all POs, and considerable preparedness for the PEOs. So everything starts from the course outcomes, because the course outcomes transfer the skill from the faculty to the students. Based on the course outcomes, the PSOs should be designed, and based on the PSOs, the program educational outcomes should be designed. So this is the program matrix showing the mapping of the course outcome with the program outcome. The amount of correlation can be indicated in this matrix. So here the subject, second subject 201, first outcome in the second subject has medium correlation with program outcome 1, high correlation with program outcome 2, and high correlation with program outcome 12. For the same subject, the second course outcome has these following correlations. And for the third course outcome, these are the correlations shown. Now we can relate the course outcomes, outcome values that we have already found out using a particular method and related to the program outcomes in this manner. So here this can be 101 for the first subject. It is written 201, but we can take it for the first subject itself 101 because we know the value for the first subject. And we can, okay, so here it is written correctly. We can substitute the values. So if it is medium correlation, you have to multiply this value by 0.6. And if it is low correlation, you have to multiply it by 0.3, indicating 1 by 3 and 2 by 3 levels. And these are the values that are substituted in these places. Okay, so this is for showing the matrix COPO mapping for a single subject. Likewise, we have to write the course outcomes for the entire all the subjects in the entire syllabus and then map it to the program outcomes. So 101.1 up to 101 up to n COs can be there. Usually 5 or 6 COs will be there for the first subject. So indicate all the values that you have calculated. Fill up this matrix. Then take the average in PO1. That will give you the attainment level for program outcome 1. Direct method for the attainment level of program outcome 1. Similarly, when you take the average of all the values that you have filled in, you will get the attainment levels till program outcome 12. Okay. So this is the method of calculating the attainment levels for course outcomes and program outcomes in the direct method. So the total program outcome will be the summation of the attainment calculation done using the direct method as well as an indirect method. So indirect method for course outcome will be the course exit survey, and the indirect method for the program outcome will be program exit survey, alumni survey, PTA parents feedback. So all those things can be taken for the indirect method of calculating program outcomes attainment. And the final attainment will be the average of the two. Okay, next we come to the teaching learning process. So the main aim in the teaching learning process will be to equip the students with the 21st century knowledge, skills and attitude and to keep them engaged. So, and to also to monitor the continuous improvement in curriculum, incorporation of better educational resource and more effective teaching, and to ensure that the examination system reinforces teaching and learning, and to how to ensure lifelong learning. So all the attainment calculations are an example of continuous monitoring of the students. So every time, every semester, you see that we see the attainment graph. We can see which outcome is needing more attention, and that can be improved by seeing the attainment graphs. So attainment calculations is the one method of implementing the continuous improvement program for course outcomes as well as program outcomes. And when you come to teaching learning process, we have to be aware of the learning approaches and the styles of the students. So each student comes from the different background. Their learning method will not be the same with as that of their friends. Socioeconomic backgrounds, communication skills, learning styles, learning strategy are all matters of concern. Then academic ability, prerequisite knowledge, motivation, suitability of time, place of study, etc. are also important when we transfer instructions to the students. So best learning takes place when the instructional style matches the learning style of the students. And the learning, when we come to the learning styles, there are different styles of learning. The input model can be visual or verbal. Perception model, where the students can be sensory or intuitive. Processing model, where students can be active or reflective. The understanding model, where they can be sequential or global. So in the visual model, students learn better. Visual model students, they learn better when we are showing flowcharts and things like pictures, diagrams, flowcharts, animations, etc. Whereas verbal learners, they listen to words and their brain converts and written words are also converted to oral equivalents in the brain. So that is the visual learners and verbal learners. Most of us are visual learners, but most instructions, as we know, is mostly verbal. So a combination of two will satisfy this category of students, visual learner as well as verbal learners. Then we have the perception model. We have sensing learners and intuitive learners. So sensing learners, they like concrete facts and they like hands-on classes. But they often find the courses too abstract and they are unable to relate it to the real life. And they often run out of time in text. And intuitive learners, they work at the subconscious level and they hate memorization and repetition and commit careless mistakes in exams. So most of the professors are usually intuitive, whereas most of the UG students in technical field are sensors. And all learners are partly sensors and partly intuitors. And we have more intuitors at the higher levels of learning. Then you have active learners and reflective learners. So active learners, they always jump into doing things and they like group work. And reflective learners think about the presented material, then do it. Work introspectively and tend to delay starting. Okay, all classes have both types. They're nearly 50-50. Then you have an interesting model called sequential learners. Most of our educational system, they follow sequential learning. Textbooks are designed like that. And they build understanding in logical steps, function with partial understanding, make steady progress, and can explain easily. And they are good at analytical thinking. Whereas global learners, they need to get a wide picture of the scenario to grasp things. They are helpless under the big picture image and they can't explain easily. Okay. So, but global learners are at risk in school, college if they are not helped in seeing the big picture and lateral connections to other subjects. They are a minority but are extremely important as multidisciplinary thinkers, system thinkers, and top administrators. And most students, teachers, courses, curriculum, and textbooks are sequentials. So, catering to all these learning categories, we have got several methods of learning devised in our curriculum, like flipped class, fully online instructions, group activities, inquiry, lecture, mental modeling, MOOC online. So this is a screenshot taken from the academic enterprises systems which we use in our college. So we can specify the type of learning that we are using all these things, and we have to design these things according to the needs of the students. We have more of this here, like blended learning, brainstorming, case study, drill and practice examination, flipped class. So in AES, whatever be the method we follow, we can design our courses using these things based on the class that we are taking. So during this COVID time, mostly everything will be video lectures, case studies, online live class, etc. And this is a tool which is available in the Ministry of Human Resources Development, Government of India, where you can design your course in the model that was shown earlier using course overview, course outcome, then test problems for each of the course outcomes. Then you have module overview, module outcomes, test materials for each of the module outcomes. Then below that you can have the lecture level, lecture summary, lecture outcomes specified. So here you are shown the course overview over here. So the course overview should have at least 2 modules, 2 paragraphs. One paragraph should indicate what is there in the syllabus and how we are going to deliver that. And the second paragraph should indicate, second paragraph should be a motivation for the students to join this course, what they will be able to do as a result of studying this course. Then you have a provision for writing the objectives, objective 1, objective 2, objective 3. And this can be published in the internet, where the companies can see your objectives and add their comments. If the objectives or the skills that you are going to transfer to the students are not up to the mark, then the company can rectify, telling that by using this add comment. This add comment is for continuous review by the companies that are associated. The companies can review the course outcomes and can give suggestions as to how to improve the course outcomes to meet the needs for the industry. So here the basic understanding should be the course outcome should be the skill that you are transferring to the student, and the companies will review the skills that the students will acquire for each course. They can take their course of interest and see what are the skills that are given to the students by a particular institution, add their comments. The faculties can see the comments and modify the course outcomes accordingly. So based on this method of writing the course outcome, course overview, course outcome, and by having continuous monitoring by the industry, you will be able to update the skills that you are transferring to the students according to the needs of the industry. So this is another one method of continuous improvement in your curriculum. And the next part will be the test items to test each of the course outcomes. So the test outcomes provided should also be reviewed and modified. So in such a system, even if one faculty is not able to continue the course, it can be easily taken up by the next person in the same way that the subject was intended to be taught to the students. So this gives an overview of the course design structure, course overview, motivation. Course overview consists of the subjects in the course and the topics covered in the course and the motivation, course outcome, this is the most important thing. Then the test item and the assignment to test each of the course outcomes. Same thing can be given for the module outcome, but module outcome will be within the institute or within the review of the faculty, whereas course outcome should be published so that any change in the course outcome can be suggested by the stakeholders. So any suggestions by the stakeholders should be considered by the reviewing committee or a quality management team, and the course outcomes should be changed accordingly. And we need to be aware of the learning approaches also of the students. Surface learning or rote learning, that is just for the sake of learning. Achieving means mark scoring, intentions and tactics. And deep learning will be a perfect understanding of the subject through interrelation with existing knowledge structures, and a combination of this deep learning and achieving would really give a good output. All these things are. So evaluation based on the learning strategy. Evaluation strategy affects the learning strategy. Extensive use of simple MCQs. Testing of lower level cognitive skills tend to promote surface learning strategy. We'll just go back to the surface learning motive. Main purpose is to meet requirements minimally and get a degree with pass only aspiration. Tendency to rote learn bare essentials. So if extensive use of simple MCQs and testing of lower cognitive levels will tend to promote surface learning strategy of the students. Then testing of higher level cognitive levels, deep learning can promote deep learning. Deep learning and achieving is the best combination for the students. So these are the references for the learning styles. This I've already shown. Then evaluation of the result analysis. So curriculum is not a syllabus or textbook driven. It should be a set of specific, measurable, appropriate, challenging, but achievable educational objective or skills, which student will be acquiring at the end. And evaluation of student achievement can be made more valid and reliable as the benchmark of achievements is explicitly stated. This is something which we have already seen, how to achieve the targets. That is, write down the outcomes, then develop test items, then evaluate the test results. And one more thing about a good course outcome is it calls for measurable results in tests, making tests very focused and uniform. And it allows good goal post for students. They know exactly what they will be tested on, and they do not have to second guess instructors regarding questions. It provides benchmark to determine whether the main intent has to be achieved. And it provides criteria to judge whether learners are competent enough in the particular area. So assessment is a process of gathering data to measure the degree of attainment of the course goals. And assessment techniques may vary with goals. For example, the way you assess project work might not be the way you assess a theory paper. So after assessments are done, you have to do the evaluation at the end. And assessment data quantified for each student is quantified for each student for all relevant assessments. And if necessary, the data is normalized for different tests. And value judgment is made based on the criteria, norm, relative position amongst peers. And wrong assessment might sometimes happen when teachers assess the quantity and the presentation of work rather than the quality of learning. And greater attention is often given to marking and grading, much of it tending to lower the esteem of students rather than providing advice for improvement. And a strong emphasis on comparing students with each other, which demoralizes the less successful learners. And another one important method of assessment is by using a rubric. So a rubric is a coherent set of criteria for student work that describes performance, quality, so rubrics exist in many different forms, from the simplest checklist to more complex descriptive or holistic rubrics. And for all, rubrics.com is a very good site for creating the rubrics. So need for rubrics. I think we'll take a break for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we'll continue with the rubrics.
Participants, kindly stay back. The session will resume at 3:20.
Okay. Yeah, welcome back. We will resume the session now. We'll see the rubrics based method of evaluation also. So there are different types of rubrics like holistic rubric, analytic rubric, general rubric, task specific rubric. So holistic rubric is just for a quick overall general rubrics and task specific rubrics. We'll see each one. So this is a method of evaluating the program outcomes by using a rubric. So let us go back to the first program outcome, engineering knowledge. We have seen that the first program outcome is in the application level of the cognitive domain. And the program outcome goes like this: apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and an engineering specialization to the solution of complex engineering problems. So now we can, for this entire program outcome, we can define several performance indicators. And these performance indicators can act as the different criteria for evaluation. So from this program outcome, my first performance indicator will be ability to apply mathematical principles to solve engineering problems. And I'm defining 3 levels. First one is needs improvement, for which I'm giving 1 point. Then satisfactory, for which I'm giving 2 points. Exceeds expectation, 3 points. And there's a column for the score also. Maximum score for each row will be 3 points. So this program outcome I have defined. For this program outcome, I have defined 3 performance indicators: ability to apply mathematical principles to solve engineering problems, ability to apply the principles of science to solve the engineering problem, and ability to apply mathematical, scientific, and engineering fundamentals to solve engineering problems. And the 3 categories, 3 levels. The first category doesn't understand how to apply the studied mathematical formula to the specific problem. Second category, which is given under satisfactory, relates the mathematical or scientific principles to formulate models relevant to engineering. And the third category combines mathematical or scientific principle to formulate models relevant to engineering and chooses a mathematical model or scientific principle that applies to engineering problem. So based on if we have a rubric like this, we'll be able to give a feedback to the students automatically, and also we will be able to get an overview of his abilities. So this is a rubrics designed for program outcome 1, and these are marks scored by the student. And the contribution of the student to program outcome 1 will be the average of these 3 marks. Then you have the second rubric is written for program outcome 2, that is program analysis. Identify, formulate, review research literature, analyze complex engineering problems, reaching substantiated conclusions using first principles of mathematics, natural science, and engineering sciences. So here also the performance indicators are written like this. And the important thing is, by using our theory subjects, we have to attain the non-domain dependent program outcomes also. So when we split the rubric like this, we have we might need to map it to the non-domain dependent program outcomes also. For example, in program outcome 3, the third performance indicator suggests consideration for the public health and safety and the cultural, societal and environmental considerations. So this mapping can also come under the non-cognitive domains. So using a rubric for project evaluation, when we map the project evaluations, we usually map it to all the POs. But it should be evaluated by using performance indicators. So if all the program outcomes are evaluated using the program indicators, they can directly contribute to the program outcomes. So we have written the program outcomes rubrics for all the 5 program outcomes. And this is a rubric which is used to measure teamwork. So the program educational objective given here is graduates will solve complex problems and participate in team-based environment. So the student outcome is written as ability to function effectively on a team. And the performance indicators are written as researchers and gathers information, fulfills duties of team roles, shares in work of team, listens to other teammates. So these are the performance indicators that is written by the faculty. So let us see how we can form this as a rubric. So all the performance indicators form the criteria for the rubric, and you can classify the students according to the different levels. The scores would appear over here, and you can take the average of the scores. So this is a chart which shows the assessment system on teaching and learning. So formative assessments, they are usually used for giving a feedback to the teaching learning process. Whereas a summative assessment, they are used for measuring the outcomes. So for a project assessment, which spans over 1 year, students are to be evaluated using all the program outcomes from PO1 to PO12 using the rubrics for the program outcomes. So if we map the students marks to each of the program outcomes throughout a year, we might get a tabulation like this. This modern tool usage, mostly in all project works, students might be using modern tools. So the score stands at 3. For all the other things, based on their performance, the project coordinator or the guide should enter the marks for all the program outcomes. And when we take the average, we get the contribution to the program outcomes due to that particular subject. And the assessment tools that we commonly use are the alumni survey, employer survey, student exit survey, project evaluation, course evaluation, alumni interaction, etc. And the frequency will be yearly, and stakeholders, alumni, employer, graduates, students, and alumni. So there's a difference between the traditional approach and the OBE. The initial method that we used in our educational system was the input-output method, where the input, students were given as input, the process was carried out, and you get an output, mark-based output. So the faculty, curriculum, labs, other resources from the input teaching and learning, and students at graduation, they give the output. The focus was on inputs and the process, whereas in outcome-based education, the scenario has entirely changed. Students at graduation have to fulfill the stakeholders' satisfaction. The stakeholders are the employers, industries, parents, alumni, etc. So based on the feedback, the outcome has to be modified and the teaching learning process has to be modified to the satisfaction of the stakeholders. So program outcomes attainment for the entire program can be calculated once a student completes 4 years in engineering. And this is a sample graph for the program outcomes attainment in a scale of 3 for the current academic year. And just as how we evaluate the course outcomes based on the previous academic years, we can evaluate the program outcomes also. This is a graph showing the attainments that were achieved during the last 5 years. And based on this, and based on the program outcomes attainment, we have to do an evaluation, send the test feedback, find out all the things that are missing that hinders the attainment of the program outcome, rectify that, modify it, and keep on repeating this loop until the outcomes are attained. So continuous quality improvement is an important factor in the outcome-based education. So all attainment analysis enable the continuous improvement of curriculum, teaching learning process, teaching resources requirement, assessment methods, validity and reliability of evaluation. And one of the stakeholders, important stakeholders that we have are the employers. And these are the qualities which our employers expect in our students. So if we map these qualities with our program outcomes, we will see that the qualifications mapping, which is from 1 to 5, PO1 to PO5, it is shown only in one row. And creativity also involves program outcome 5, which includes modern tool usage. And one thing which we can note over here is the non-domain dependent outcomes are more important for the employer. But when we come to our curriculum, if we see the mapping of CO and PO in the PO matrix, we will see that there is very little importance given to the non-cognitive or domain independent program outcomes. So what the employer expects is far different from what we give to the students, and that is a matter of concern, and we have to improve all these skills according to the expectations of the employers, which means we have to concentrate more than we presently do in the attainment of the non-domain dependent program outcomes. That is program outcomes 6 to 12, which involves engineer and society, communication skills, lifelong learning, teamwork, etc. So with this, I think we have covered most of the topics. in assessment and evaluation, starting from the outcome-based model. So any questions? We have some questions. What does PEO indicates? Program educational outcome indicates the skill that we transfer to the students, and using these skills, employers can select our students. These are the qualities which the students exhibit after completing our programs. That is, we'll be monitoring the students for the next 5 years, how they perform based on the skills that they attained from our institute. Importance of course outcome. Course outcome is the most important thing as far as the outcome-based education is concerned. Course outcomes define the skills that are transferred to the students upon completion of each course. Need for satisfying the course outcome means you are attaining the course outcome, which indicates that the course outcome is attained. The skill is transferred to the student.
Now we come to the end of the question answer section. First of all, let me thank our resource person and also the master brain of this STTP, Dr. Therese Yamuna Mahesh, for taking all of us a journey through the phases of the paradigm shift in general education. Ma'am, you emphasized on the relevance of outcome-based education, components of OBE, program educational objectives, program and course outcome, mapping and attainment levels, Bloom's taxonomy, teaching learning process, and evaluation using rubrics. On behalf of Amaljodi College of Engineering, I thank you, ma'am, once again, and we are highly appreciative of your leadership, encouragement, and extensive support provided. Thank you, ma'am. So, dear participants, link for attendance and feedback of the session and a separate link for final MCQ examination will be shared immediately after the valedictory function. Now we move on to the closing ceremony. I cordially invite Professor K.G. Sadish Kumar, Head of Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, for the valedictory address. Sadish sir. Sadish sir. Sadish sir will join shortly. Sir, is it audible?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Miss, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. It is audible.
It's audible, okay. So a warm good afternoon to one and all listening to us. My dear colleague and as Ranjita Miss mentioned, master brain of this STTP and Dr. Teresa Mahesh, my dear colleagues, and the participants around the country. We are the participants throughout the India from different, almost 100 plus participants are attending this program. And sometimes it comes down to 80, then 90. It's variation due to the network issues at that destination or their own areas. So we started this program on 16, the second phase of 6 days AICTE sponsored the CTP on the paradigm shift in assessment evaluation for engineering graduates. Started on 16th of this month, inaugurated by the Honorable Vice Chancellor of MG University, Dr. Sabu Thomas. In that function, our own manager, Reverend Dr. Matthew Pike, presided. Father, our beloved principal, welcome the gathering. Emina Ma'am introduced the objective of the program to the participants and followed by the discussion on new education policy and engineering education by our own Vice Chancellor MG University, Dr. Sabu Thomas sir. Then on the same day afternoon, we had a need for accreditation in higher education institution and higher education by Dr. Remit George of Assam Central University. Then we had a journey through the NBA accreditation manual. Then ICT on engineering education by Dr. Ashkar Ali sir. He's from the Government Arts and Science College, Tanur. Then we had a one-day program on NAC accreditation by Dr. Sendil Kumar of Arts and Science College, Coimbatore, Principal Aditya College, Dr. C. Deepa. The next day we had a talk by the Re-Engineering Education by Dr. Sukesh, Government Engineering College, Kannur, and by Amitabh Saxena on the basis of quality improvement in engineering colleges. We had class on or discussion on new education policy and outcome-based education by Dr. Biju. Then we had a tour section by Dr. Teresa Mahesh on the transformation tour of outcome attainment in the process of NBA accreditation and life cycle of OBE. So with this 6 days program starting on 16th morning 9:20 we started the sessions and ending almost by 3:35 we are winding up the section. In this 2 days program, if the participants are keenly attended or even if you could not attend due to some or other reason because majority are the faculties, there are a lot of additional commitment, network issues, power supply failure, all these issues will be there. But our organizers and coordinators were uploading the material or video recorded information daily in the link, and link is provided to you, and that material remains there. If you are listened or you are going through the material, I'm sure you will be able to understand about the NAC and NBA accreditation. All in and out of the NBA accreditation have been discussed thoroughly in this 1 week program, starting from the criteria 1 to criteria 10 in the NBA and all key indicators and the criteria of NAC. And we discussed about the major concern about the program educational objective, program outcome, course outcome, program specific outcome, attainment calculation, Bloom's taxonomy, what should be the level of question paper, what are the things to be looked into to get accredited for 6 years, what are the criteria for 6 years accreditation, who all can get accreditation. Means majority of your doubts and queries have been explained, and one of the beautiful section done by the Askar Ali sir about the ICT in engineering. All the sections were excellent, no doubt in that. But the most attracted to me was the section by the Askar Ali sir on the ICT, where really sir was taking us to the giving what is called making us to learn, to be present and understand the topic about the whiteboard. In this present scenario, in the online mode of classes, we can interact with the students in a multimedia mode. Many interactive medias are there. That whiteboard concept, sharing the whiteboard through the chat box and whatever the students is doing, we can see, we can interact on their board. That was highly appreciated. All the sections was excellent, no doubt. Like that, all that ICT enabled section, if somebody missed that section, please go through that, learn, understand, and implement in your class. No doubt your class quality will improve 10 times better than the what we were doing today. So I start learning on that, plan to implement on my Monday's class on this ICT enabled class, even though I used to use the different ICT, but that whiteboard concept I was not, whiteboard I used to explain, but never I shared and made to see the students' involvement or the way the students are doing these problems. So I hope I'll be able to do from the next Monday. So my request is, if you participant, you can learn and we can convey and convey the information to the student. The program is a great success. If one or more participants is benefited out of this program, surely we are very happy when the objective of the program is getting materialized. If at least one party, one or more, my expectation is 100%, but we know it may not be. But just like a battery, once we are on charging connection, it's a capacitor. We will be just charging, will be reaching the peak. The supply is off, we will be discharging. So we require frequent charging and discharging. All these AICTE sponsored STTP or quality improvement program objective is used to charge the faculty, we the faculties, to gain our knowledge, to refresh what we know. Almost all these things we might have come across. All there is nothing new invention in the discussion, starting from new education policy to the OBE. All these things were discussing and known to us, but some refreshment we get when someone speaks and we listen. So we will be very happy to hear from you also, all the participants, how the program effectiveness. This is the second phase, and third phase will be in the next month. Surely our team led by Dr. Semina Mahesh will be in touch with you, and we are ready to welcome and will come with the new areas and new arenas of this paradigm shift in evaluation and assessment. That will come to that. So if anybody is, if anyone is benefited, surely we are happy, and even our member secretary and course coordinator Dr. Teresa Mina Mahesh will very happy if somebody is benefited, because she was working days and nights to getting the resource persons and planning, executing this without any time. That you might have seen every day, 10 o'clock starting, 12 o'clock is over, 2 starting, 4 is over. Every day without any, there was not a day where there was not the difficulty faced with the keynote speakers or the participant or any, there won't be any, because the teamwork led by her leadership. We had a good team of my own colleagues from the department. They are all helping, starting from the invitation till the closing ceremony come to across. So I would like to thank all people involved in this. Even the official vote of thanks will be there, but as HOD of the department, I would like to thank all the participants who took initiative, interest, and joined with Amal Jyoti College of Engineering for attending this program. My colleague, Dr. Semina Mahesh, I have no words to express my thanks to her because it's her child. And along with her, Jason sir, Rinjida Miss, Indu Miss, Tracy, Karina, and many more. Many people are involved. Srijit, Manoj, Jili, many of my colleagues were sitting, even in being a holiday, they are in the campus. I am sitting in my of in my home. I'm sure with even my presence is not required. Our department will run well or into machine without any comment or without any size. I'm very proud to work with my colleagues. I would like to thank the entire team under the leadership of Yamina Miss, and also would like to thank Almighty God for being with all of you in this evening. And God permitted all of us to continue these 6 days without any sickness or without any COVID or any cases. That's thanks to God. Also to thanking to our manager, Reverend Dr. Matthew Payakat, our principal Dr. Servil Parambil, then our heads of the departments of other department, then deans, and also to the Father Robin Thotobaram. He is the director of AES and HOD of MCA. He only the main coordinator or the main organizer to arrange the online webinar without any difficulties by providing the Zoom link and all other digital facilities for this program. And Dean's Registrar on all the AES team, and to all my dear colleagues of 30 faculties plus 8 supporting and 1 administrative staff of our department. I thank you. I will remain. Before leaving, I would like to hear from the participants your criticism on the program and your suggestions for the next time. And also in December, we have the third phase. In January 11, we'll be starting an STTP, same on ADAL FTP, on IoT applications in medical image processing. That's got sanctioned by Abu Bakar sir of the department, Professor Abu Bakar. So I would like to invite some of the participants to speak about the program, about our shortcomings, our negatives, than our positiveness. We want to improve it. Thank you. I remain.
Thank you, sir. Next, we can have the feedback from the participant side. Participants can unmute yourself and can express your feedback now.
Very good evening, madam. This is Kumaravel from KS Rangasamy College of Technology, Tiruchengodu. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yeah. Thank you very much for arranging such a kind of a program because the accreditation is the need of the hour right now. So this program is very much useful for the beginners and also those who are already in the process of accreditation process. They also get refined. So I think thank you so much for organizing this kind of program. Well done.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you're audible, ma'am.
I'm Asha Jason, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, MES College, Erimili. I'm very fortunate that I have attended phase 1 and completed phase 2 of the STTP that is conducted by the Department of ECE, ML Jyoti College of Engineering. It was really a wonderful experience for me throughout these 6 days, and I believe that it would be like that for all the participants. And right from the first session, which was handled by Dr. Sar, Honorable Vice Chancellor of RNG University. It was really informative, and he imparted everything in a very interesting way since he shared everything from his hands only. All the resource persons were very vibrant, and the sessions were highly informative. And to be frank, now I'm very confident that I can contribute and orient my fellow colleagues on all this topic, especially OBE, which was handled by the course coordinator herself just now. And regarding the session, which I found most useful was the fourth day's session, which was handled by Dr. Sendil Kumar sir, Dr. Deepa madam, and also the classes on OBEs, since they have covered almost entire key indicators of each criteria, which was really helpful for us since we are moving forward for the NAC accreditation. And I take this opportunity to thank and appreciate HOD Professor Sadish Kumar sir, the course coordinator Dr. Teresa Yamina Mahesh madam, program coordinators, and the entire team of the Department of ECE for this strict discipline, as Sadish sir just mentioned, towards a time, discipline towards a time. And of course, since the session videos are shared and intimated daily, it would be really worthful for further reference, if any. Anyway, thank you towards the STGP team for providing us an opportunity to attend all the sessions. Once again, thank you, team. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your good words and positive suggestion. And you have done 2 sessions. Really happy. Hoping to meet you in 3rd session also. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, all. This is Rajula Oyam, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science, MES College, Edinburgh.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I take this opportunity to thank the organizing team for making each and every session meaningful and helpful. All sections are blessed with excellent speakers. Special thanks to Dr. Teresa Emina Mahesh for participating as for providing us an opportunity. The well-organized team without any fault putting reminders about the upcoming sessions, and also special thanks to Professor Jason Sears for sharing sessions videos daily without any fail. It was really helping hand for us. Thanks to all the coordinators and entire ECE team. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you,
Welcome,
ma'am.
madam.
Anyone else?
I am Shivadanu from College of Engineering, Muttathara, Trivandrum.
Okay.
I attended first session also, the second
Yes.
phase also I have attended. Every session is very interesting. Nowadays, we are focusing on the quality of education. Otherwise, we cannot survey the institution. Surveying is very difficult. In that time, you are conducting such a wonderful course, because normally phase 1 and phase 2 is entirely different topic. I will appreciate all the because if you are conducting any program, getting a resource person is very difficult, and time management and everything is very good manners. They are arranged every program, every session is a very interesting. As a HOD told that Askar Ali sir, the program is also wide variety of open tools is available in the market, then we can use it. I appreciate the coordinator of Trisha madam for under the leadership of Sir Sadish Kumar sir and everybody's. I have once again thanks to all members involved in this program. I'm also expecting to attend the third phase also. Indeedly, I'll thank you once again for the team of that complete ECE team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
sir.
nice words. Hoping to see you in 3rd phase also. Yeah.
Anybody else to give the feedback? So now we come to the end of the feedback session. Now I welcome Professor Jason C.S., Assistant Professor from Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, to deliver vote of thanks.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Good evening,
Audible.
one and all present here, esteemed dignitaries, participants of session, and our EC team. First of all, I thank God Almighty for His blessings for the successful completion of these two phases of our STTP. I take this opportunity to express my heartfelt thanks to our dearest manager, Reverend Father Dr. Matthew Pykart, for his wholehearted support all through the STTP. My deepest gratitude goes to our beloved principal, Dr. Izzat V. Lagaparambil, for his guidance and motivation. Heartfelt thanks to Professor Tommy Joseph, Registrar, Dr. Jacob Philip, and Dr. Sony C. George, Deans of the College, for their unending support. Our HOD, Professor K.G. Sadish Kumar, was always with his seamless support, and he has also blessed this STTP as a resource person. Thank you, Sadish sir.
Welcome.
Special thanks to Reverend Father Robin Thotuparam, Head Department of Computer Application, for providing us the venue and for all the support during the STTP days. I also extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Joby Matthew, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Application, for his extended support. We also thank all the resource persons, especially Dr. Sabu Thomas, VC, MG University, who gave a kick start to phase 2 of this STTP. Then Dr. Remit George Carey, Department of Education, Central University, Assam, Dr. Askar Ali, Assistant Professor, Government Arts College, Thanur. Dr. G. Senthil Kumar, Principal, Aditya College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. Dr. C. Deepa, Associate Professor, Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. Professor A. Sugesh, Assistant Professor, GEC, Kannur. Then Mr. Amitabh Saxena, Founder and CEO, Annexa, Europe. Then Dr. Biju K, Assistant Professor, Central University, Tamil Nadu. And definitely our Teresa Semina Mahis Madam and our Sadish Kumar sir for being a part of our STTP by sharing their expertise and valuable thoughts. There is no shortcut for hard work that leads to effectiveness. I extend thanks to our course coordinator, Dr. Teresa Semina Mahesh, for her discipline and determination to make this STTP a reality. She is also a resource person for 2 of our sessions. I express my immense gratitude to my fellow coordinators, Ms. Indurina Varghese and Ms. Ranjita Rajan, for their entire efforts. A word of gratitude to all my dear colleagues for your enhanced support, both online and offline, especially for making the communication effectively with the candidates and the team throughout the program. The contribution of our supporting staff, especially Mr. Manoj, Mr. Srijit, Ms. Jili, and also some support from Mr. Jovish, also deserves significant mention. Then, above all, and with much importance, thank you, my dear participants, for being part of this program. The phase 2 STTP was a success only because of you. I strongly believe that we have successfully delivered the promised concepts throughout the phase coverage. And we look forward to see you all in the coming phase 3 of our STTP, that's on modern tools using in engineering education, conducted from 7 to 12th of December 2020. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, sir. Dear participants, it has been a honor to have your presence and your participation ensure the success of our event. We believe that our diverse and dynamic group of speakers has provided depth of insight in their topics and hope that you have found the sessions informative. We invite all the participants again for the third phase of the STTP to be conducted from 7th to 12th December 2020. The theme of the STTP phase 3 will be modern tool usage in engineering education. Please keep visiting us for further events and their details. Once again, on behalf of Amaljodi College of Engineering, I thank all of the participants for your esteemed presence. And dear participants, kindly turn on your video for a virtual photo session. Participants, kindly turn on your video for a virtual photo session. കഴിഞ്ഞോ?
കഴിഞ്ഞില്ല. മിസ്റ്റർ മൈക്ക് ഓഫ് ചെയ്യും സാർ.
The link for session attendance and feedback will be shared after 10 minutes.
It's already shared, Miss. Question paper link is there. I think it is there. Came in the chat box. Panel MCQ test. It's there.
Dear participants, exam link will be available till 6 o'clock. Feedback and attendance link of the session will be shared right now.